Okay. Dear people, I would like to introduce me. I'm Dr. Leo Pruimboom. I am a medical physiologist and biochemist. And I would like to help you a little bit at home because we are all isolated in our house with our families. And I would like to give you some scientific information, some scientific knowledge about the way we could handle our home and lifestyle to protect us more against the coronavirus, which we all going to suffer, but it's not but that does not have to be a real danger. Yeah. And if necessary, things we could do, but if we are affected, to help and to shorten the disease state when you are affected. As you see here, I've introduced some lifestyle interventions already, as you say here. Sitting breaks, I will talk about it. Use of vitamin C, which can be very interesting. The use of a substance which is lactoferrin, high intensity interval training, and you will see quite a bit of possible measurements to protect yourself better and to understand the problem of this coronavirus worldwide. Okay, so we'll see that the coronavirus itself is not the major responsible when you suffer from, for instance, a lung infection. You will see that the coronavirus induces a so-called superinfection caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae and or Stafilicoccus aureus. And that also led to the development of a workflow developed by the World Health Organization, with which the medical profession has been advised to handle when people suffer a superinfection caused by these bacteria. You see that Streptococcus pneumoniae and Staphylococcus aureus, they belong to our so-called skin microbiome. The skin, it's not only the skin. The skin is also literally the mouth and the nose. Yeah. And in the nose, it is completely normal that a benign bacteria like Streptococcus pneumoniae, and they call it benign because it's a normal part of the human microbiome. Yeah. And the nose should be occupied by Streptococcus pneumoniae, because when you suffer a fever caused by a virus, then Streptococcus pneumoniae comes out of its biofilm, and I'll show you that. And of course, then Streptococcus pneumoniae could produce a lung infection, but anyway, it prevents as you see here, the proliferation of a much more dangerous bacteria, which is Staphylococcus aureus. You see here that for instance, also the herpes influenza virus, when that produces fever, then you see that the Streptococcus pneumoniae will proliferate, will be liberated out of the biofilm. But don't worry, normally we are very well protected, with obviously exceptions, against the Streptococcus pneumonia, and then the Streptococcus pneumonia, yeah, plus our immune system can control proliferation of Staphylococcus aureus, because when that bacteria would proliferate and produce a lung infection, that is much more dangerous, because we all know MRSA, and we know that MRSA, yeah, is an antibiotic resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which is one of the most dangerous infections you can imagine. So what is happening? What is happening is the following thing: yeah, that if people would have Streptococcus pneumonia in their nasal lumen, and we would suffer a virus, herpes influenza or coronavirus infection, and it would produce fever, then that bacteria would be liberated and would proliferate, would prevent Staphylococcus aureus proliferation. And if you then suffer a pneumonia, then we have very good functioning antibiotics, and that could resolve that thing. But the thing is, yeah, that, as you see here, quite a few factors have diminished, really diminished the number of Streptococcus pneumonia in the nasal lumen in a lot of people, because of different factors. The most important thing is the abuse of antibiotics worldwide, yeah, which really has decreased the presence of Streptococcus pneumonia in a lot of people in their microbiome. And that means that the probability of a superinfection caused by coronavirus, yeah, is much more often caused by the Staphylococcus aureus, and the Staphylococcus aureus is very often antibiotic resistant, yeah, and that could produce death. Okay, so when we look to, and that is not a coincidence, when we look to the workflow of the World Health Organization, as you see, published in March 2020, then in that workflow, you really talk about a treatment in which Streptococcus pneumonia and Staphylococcus aureus are basic treatment with antibiotics, as you see here, azithromycin and amoxicillin, to prevent this superinfection, because it's this superinfection which really caused a probability of a huge pneumonia. And as you see already here, this is nothing new. Also, the SARS virus, the COVID-2 virus, which was also a coronavirus, already showed this pathway with which the coronavirus produces literally the disease, which could be fatal. So interesting is what we could do to prevent, or in any way to better protect us against viral infections. So once we have this superinfection, you need antibiotics. Don't think that is a bad decision. That's a good decision, obviously, but rather protect ourselves against viral infections. And today we know much more about how to protect us against viral infections than 20 years ago, because we know now that the immune system and the brain, they work together, and they really work together. And we know now there is such a thing like neuroimmunological communication. So the brain and the immune system, they work together. And we know that a lot of immune cells, they live in the brain, And if they don't live in the brain, they can enter the brain and influence our behavior, and our behavior influences the immune system. So as you see here, all kind of immune cells reside in the brain, and there is a continuous communication between the brain and the immune system. And we see that loneliness is really a risk factor for viral infections. Why? Because evolutionary medicines tells us that when we are alone, then there is a higher susceptibility to suffer co-species danger or wounds by predators. That's an evolutionary hardwired system. And so if you are alone, which is completely normal in Africa, then you have to protect yourself against bacteria. Because in open wounds, the real danger is bacterial infection. So the brain knows that when I'm alone, then there is a higher susceptibility for bacterial infections. So my immune system will be activated against bacteria, which is a system which is called Th2, and that Th2 system protects us against virtual, but also against real bacteria. That's a good thing. But the problem is that this is a virus, and viruses are crowding diseases. So that makes it so interesting. Okay, obviously, it's incredibly difficult for politicians to make the right decision, which is obvious. What is the right decision? Short-term thinking, medium or long-term decisions. Of course, short-term decisions are based on coronavirus. We have to decrease the speed of contamination because our sanitary system could collapse. That's completely correct. I'm not criticizing that. But on medium and long term, this has huge consequences. And the thing is, of course, we have to isolate people, so then people don't have contact and contamination. So virus spreading is slower. It is not prevented, but it is slower. That's a good thing. But if you isolate people, then you have to be aware of the fact that they are less protected against viruses. So the problem is, you isolate people, their immune system and their brain are anticipate bacterial danger. So then it is really very important that they are not in contact with the virus, because they are less protected. Okay, so yeah, if you see the immune reaction when you are isolated, you see the same thing happening in the brain. So you really see that immune system and the brain, they constantly work together. So I'm alone, or I feel alone. The problem is that's the same thing. Then I have a brain activity related with higher sense susceptibility. So my eyes, my ears, everything works better because I have to protect myself against danger. And at the same time, as you saw, I have an immune program protecting me against viruses, against bacteria. But as I already said, a virus is not alone, is not an isolated danger. Viruses belong to crowding diseases. Okay, and now this is the same thing, and I'm not going to explain it. And so viruses belong to dense populations. So that's why it's not a coincidence that the coronavirus started in China. That is one of the dense countries in the whole world. How many people do live there? A small village in China is 100,000 inhabitants. A small village in Europe is 100 people, but there is a huge population density. So logical is that when a new virus starts proliferating, then it's logical that such a thing occurs in very dense population. That's China. Okay, and when we see that if there would be enough interferon-gamma, and interferon-gamma is not only antiviral, but also responsible for social contact. Yeah, so this study is a fantastic study, and if you want, I would read that study. You can download that from Nature. But what it says is that if a mouse comes into a new environment with other mice, then normally that mouse would interact with those mice, but an interaction is very interesting, is interferon-gamma dependent. And so we really know that social contact, anyway in mice, and it's probably also in humans because that's logical, is induced by the immune system, because the immune system and the brain know when there are a lot of people, there is a viral danger, and so I have social interaction and viral danger, so they have to communicate with each other, and that's why you see that interferon-gamma is not only responsible for the social behavior, but also for the protection against virus. Okay, now, and you see that study done in mice. Be aware, I haven't said that it's done in humans, but afterwards I show you human studies that interferon-gamma in the brain, that eases, what it really does, it inhibits activity in the frontal lobe, and that means that the arousal level goes down, and then you can concentrate better and you have higher social capacity. And if there's an interferon-gamma deficiency, then you have less social capacities, and obviously that there is less protection against virus. Okay, and that's why you see that you should look at the society interaction with other people as part of the brain, because so interaction with other people induce an immunological response. If you are alone, there's more TNF alpha. If you are with other people, there is more interferon-gamma, and that interferon-gamma makes you resistant. Okay, obviously, now we are isolated. With other words, we are not capable of introducing ourselves in dense populations. That's the way it is. But what we can do is understand it. You see, understanding, knowing. If the brain knows, then the brain can have then you have a cognitive control, literally, over your immune system. So that's why I'm explaining this. No, so knowledge is protective. Okay, then emotional and motivational reframing. We know that interferon-gamma, that the immune system functions better when we really think positively. And 20 years ago, that would be a quack expression. Today, this is hard science. It is it is definitely proven that emotions, that thoughts, that they have a huge impact on our immune system and our health. Okay, and what we also can do is help our immune system through so-called hormetic signals, train the immune system against pathogens. You see here exercise, intermittent fasting, but also a nice hot bath could make you much more resistant against viral infections. And you see, this is something which is in mice, but also in fishes and most probably in humans. Anyway, what we do know, what we really do know, is that also in humans there is the triangle of nature, and that is the connection and the collaboration in our microbiome between bacteria, fungi, and viruses. If you look to this triangle, you see that if you would have a very healthy microbiome, then you would be very much protected against possible viral damaging viral infection. But be aware, in our microbiome we have an enormous amount of viruses, and they are necessary to control bacterial proliferation. You see, virus protect against bacterial overgrowth. Bacteria control fungal overgrowth, and fungi control viral proliferation. You call that the triangle of nature. So there are bacteria who produce rapamycin, and they prevent overproliferation of, for instance, candida. Fungi, they induce the production of interferon-gamma through some substance which is called glucane, which is a kind of a sugar. That interferon-gamma controls viral proliferation, and certain viruses, they prevent overgrowth of bacteria. So we see, that's interesting, that in mushrooms, you call that mushroom medicine, you see that this glucane thing, which is a sugar molecule, is present in almost all mushrooms, and that mushrooms, that glucanes, they can induce the production of interferon alpha, but that is first not perhaps so interesting. What is much more interesting, it increases the production of interferon gamma. And interferon gamma is definitely antiviral. So you see here, with a very low dose of oyster mushroom extract, you can already increase the production of interferon gamma. And if your interferon gamma level is high enough, then viruses are much less capable to proliferate. So in a good lifestyle intervention program, we should include eating mushrooms, and so diverse as possible, because you saw on this slide that there are different types of glucanes, and not only 1,3-glucane, 1,6, glucoxylan, which is also a kind of sugar. So the good thing is that if you eat a wide diversity of mushrooms, then you start protecting yourself through interferon gamma production against viral infections. Yeah. So there is, if you see here, Cordyceps sinensis, maitake, shiitake, and oyster mushroom. They can all help us to help us. It's not a cure first. It is a help. It's a preventive, and it can help in when you suffer a virus in solving it faster. And further, this cannot be a coincidence that there are other parts of our microbiome which can help us to protect us against virus. As you see here, in aqua cultures, they already know that certain bacteria, very healthy bacteria, you see it, the marine Streptomyces, produce substances which are antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, antibiofilm, antivirulence, and these bacteria are already used as probiotics in aquaculture. So what we need to know, where do they come from? Now they are present, those marine Streptomyces, in algae. So start eating algae. That's part of evolutionary food chain of humans. Eat shellfish, and if you do that, you can also eat salmon, because in salmon those bacteria are also present. So eat algae and shellfish, because then you eat Streptomyces, and Streptomyces produce proteins, and those proteins, they are antiviral, antibiofilm, antivirulence, etc. Again, this is not a solution, but it helps you in protect yourself against viral infections. And there are not only marine Streptomyces, there are also Streptomyces terrestres, and they live in forests. As you see here, if you look to this one, it's only one tree. In the soil, there are Streptomyces terrestres, and they also have the capability of producing proteins which are antiviral, etc. So when you are at home, and you live in a country where you can go to a forest, go to that forest, go into the woods, and search really for Streptomyces terrestres, and let them help you in protect you against viruses. And then further, very important, that if you want to have a microbiome which controls a pathomicrobiome, which is a coronavirus or a herpes virus, eat more than 30 different vegetables or fruits a week, because that changes your microbiome, and that means that your microbiome helps to control the pathomicrobiome. And then there are not very much studies against coronavirus, but here you see that there is a substance which is called lactoferrin. Lactoferrin is in mother milk, which is not a coincidence. 1 liter of human mother milk can contain 2 grams of lactoferrin, and lactoferrin is a molecule which protects against a wide range of pathogens. We know it can be antiviral, it can be antibacterial, it can be antifungal. And here you see what they use here is a spray of lactoferrin, and they show that in really a very, you see here the control group, that very fast you can get rid of Streptococcus pneumoniae and Pneumoniae aeruginosa, which means with lactoferrin you can protect yourself. And then you see that already it was already proven that the SARS pseudovirus, which is COVID-2, which is very similar to COVID-19, and that the COVID-2 and COVID-19, they both use an entry into the human lungs through a kind of a door, which is an angiotensin converting enzyme, that lactoferrin is capable of binding to the virus and prevent it to open the door. So lactoferrin is anyway part of a preventive intervention, and when you are ill, then you can use a higher dose of lactoferrin. Okay, now, and then there are some other ways to improve the diversity of your microbiome by so-called extreme triggers. I'm going to explain you that. But the most important thing, people, is eat, as I already said, more than 30 different vegetables a day, fruits and a week, because then the diversity of your microbiome becomes bigger. And that study of 30 plants, which are vegetables and fruits, is a worldwide one. So they have really compared the people who eat more than 30 plants and the people who eat less than 10 plants, that the 30 plant eater they really have a different microbiome, which is even capable of converting a pro-inflammatory fatty acid in an anti-inflammatory fatty acid. Again, an extra protection against inflammation and damage. Okay, so, and then there's one thing which is baobab. It's an incredible sugar or fiber-rich nutrient, and it has so many fibers that and different sugar molecules that the diversity of our microbiome increases and increases and protects against more and more pathogens. So baobab and eating apples, eat a lot of apples, they can help us to protect us against viral infection. I already told you, and please, it's very important to eat fish, to eat shellfish, to eat algae, because all the substances there, they can help us in the production of interferon-gamma, in the production of substances which can protect us against infection. And then an item which produces a lot of conflicts worldwide. These, as you see here, these are all publications of a group of 50 doctors worldwide. And they are continually looking for science about how to prevent and control virus, pathologies, etc. You see here vitamin C. 3rd of March, the Shanghai government officially recommends vitamin C for COVID-19. And the 1st of March, news media attacks vitamin C treatment. So what is happening? It is proven that vitamin C has antiviral effects, but nobody knows why. That popular news media, they attack really good research, but good research about vitamin C and controlling coronavirus. So you can do two things. You can believe the popular journals, or you can believe science. And the scientific background is really huge. So anyway, eat a lot of fruits, eat a lot of vegetables, eat fish, etc. And if necessary, take a vitamin C supplement. And so you are at home. All of you are at home. You cannot go. You cannot interact with other people. So the only thing we can do is be flexible, adapt to the actual situation, and look for certain interventions with which we can, with lifestyle interventions, we can protect us better against the coronavirus. Yeah, and we're going to get it, all of us, but that doesn't matter. It's the way it is. We have to do it slowly, and take care of yourself. So when you are going to be infected, that it produces only slight symptomatic disease or an asymptomatic, and let's help our sanitary services to not develop a severe coronavirus superinfection, because that would make the sanitary system collapse, and that's the real problem. Yeah. So, as you see here, eat at least 30 different vegetables and fruits every week. Yeah. Eat daily something out of the sea, algae, shellfish, fish. Introduce every 30 minutes a sitting break, because sitting time, sedentary time, makes people much more susceptible for infections. Take, when necessary, 1 or 2 grams of vitamin C daily. Do 1 high-intensity workout daily of 30 minutes, 25 minutes, but move yourself. When your muscles suffer a bit, your immune system starts to produce lactoferrin. That's why that you have to do some high-intensity workouts. Yeah? If necessary, take 400 milligrams of lactoferrin daily. Yeah? Use intermittent fasting rhythm. We know now that intermittent fasting can help to program the body against infections. Then drink hot fluid sources. That doesn't mean that with a nice hot tea you kill a virus. That's rubbish. That is not science. But anyway, maintain, what you can do is with heat, you can help to prevent proliferation. So drink tea, drink coffee, that's no problem, and take hot showers and a hot bath. Then your skin can be, then the virus is much less capable of proliferate. Very important, very important. Do not eat red meat, no pork. So no mammalian meat, because there are certain sugars in mammalian meat which can help to proliferate malign pathogens, malign bacteria, which collaborate with the virus to produce super infections. Eat chicken, eat other birds, eggs, no problem. And I hope that with this program, you don't get bored at home, you move, you exercise, and please change the way you think. It's not at all an easy time we're living. It's very stressful, but stress makes us more susceptible for infection. So it's a good thing. Play with your children, play Monopoly, laugh. Look at a good movie, not a highbrow movie, a lowbrow movie, a Jackie Chan. So look for entertainment at home. Laugh a lot, and try to reframe your brain. And although it's not an easy time, think positive. We come out of this crisis, and we have to come out stronger than we came in. So that's why you also use once in a while, take an extreme cold bath. That's an extreme trigger which induces a much more effective immune response. Okay, I hope that I've helped you a little bit with this presentation based on science. Once again, this is not the cure, but it can help you to prevent. And when you are ill, it can improve and shorten the disease state. Thank you very much for your attention, and bye-bye.